Welcome everybody to the next episode of Build with Stacky. Pleasure to have everyone here and watching. Sahil, great to have you on the show this week. CEO of Spiralize. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Really glad to be here, and I appreciate the invitation. This is a good show.
We're trying our best. Appreciate you being one of our guests this week. Now, you've got a background in sort of marketing, CRO, which we'll come on to. Also, I know your team do a lot of outbound, so it'd be great to understand some of the stuff between does outbound drive inbound, marketing, sales, and relationships and stuff, which we'll come on to. But tell us a little bit about, I guess, Spiralize and sort of your focus with predictive CRO to start.
Thank you. So Spiralize, we're an A/B testing company. If you think about all the money companies spend to get traffic to their website, they're running ads. They're doing things to get more organic. They're hoping to show up in ChatGPT. It's so hard and it's so expensive to get that traffic just to your website. Mm-hmm. And then guess what? It's even harder to get that traffic to convert. Mm-hmm. In fact, a good website might convert 5 to 10% of their traffic daily into some kinds of sales lead, which means 80, 90%. Whoosh. That second part, that's the part we help companies with. And we do it by crawling the internet and finding everyone else's A/B tests. Mm-hmm. And our customers get to run the best ones. And at the end of the day, they actually only pay if they work.
It's a great offer. And I think it's the thing that a lot of the companies we work with and speak to will be familiar with. How we're trying to increase traffic. We know we need to do stuff around SEO. And then with all like the noise these days around sales tech and signals and first party intent, that stuff gets to the website. How do we get more of that through? And a lot of this time, and one of the things we were just talking about is how do we get that information? It's not just about getting that information necessarily to the SDR so they can do more outbound into it, but there's actually the conversion rate optimization piece, which is what you're focusing on, and actually have more people click through once they've landed. There's lots of ways I'm sure you can do that. Don't need to go through all of them. But where would be like the starting point for people to look at? Or what's their first couple of things they should consider if they need to increase that?
Convert more traffic. So let's go through 3 things that everyone who's listening today can put into action without spending a lot of money or investing a lot in the way of developer resources or doing a brand refresh or getting a new content management system, which, by the way, that's the answer. I've said, oh yeah, we're on WordPress. WordPress is horrible. We should go to Webflow. By the way, I think about half the market at any given time is going from WordPress to Webflow, and the other half is doing the reverse. So before you do all that, here are 3 things I think everyone can do. And the first one is, I call it the 1 second test, which is when someone finds your website, and God help you, it's hard enough to do that, and it's become even harder with AI overviews taking a bite out of traffic. By the way, most of my clients are seeing a 20 to 30% drop in traffic reaching their site.
That much?
Yeah, not consistent. Yes, I'd say it's just a simple answer. Yes, it has a huge impact. Now, but there's some interesting nuances of the traffic that does reach their site now tends to be higher intent. Like some of what is cutting out are the looky-loos, and that's maybe not a bad thing. But let's put that just aside. It's extraordinarily hard, and many homepages fail the 1 second test. And here's a quick way to run the 1 second test. Take your homepage. You do this on like a Chrome browser. Right click and choose Google Translate and translate your homepage into another language. And make sure it's something that your close colleagues and friends don't speak. So maybe Arabic or Urdu or Hindi. I'm picking things, by the way, from my household. Um, the average Western, you walk out, if you go out, go to McDonald's, it's not what everyone's speaking. Okay. Take that, show it to 5 people that you know. Okay. Not like your spouse or your mom or like your best friend that already knows. And just say, hey, what do you think this website, this company does?
That is such a cool little test and so simple. And I'm
It's
going to
so
steal it.
simple, costs you nothing. And what you're looking for, okay, no one is going to say, oh, they make a point of sale software for retailers with 3 or more locations. Okay, no one's going to come up with that. Okay,
Yeah.
but if they come up with something that's roughly in the gauge, oh, looks like a tech company or looks like they make some kind of tools for restaurants or billing software, you're in the good right place. And if they look at it and go, I don't know, they sell cardigans, because guess what? You've got a stock photo of someone wearing like a sweater with their arms crossed looking at an iPad. You're laughing because you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
You've got a problem. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, but here's why you do the Google Translate part. Because it removes the copywriting from the equation. And that's why it's called the 1 second test, because your brain processes images much faster than words.
Yeah.
And your audience is in the first 1 to 2 seconds making a decision, not about do they like you, do they want to buy, do they think you have an interesting value proposition. They're just trying to say, am I in the right place? Did I just walk into a fast food restaurant, or did I walk into a white tablecloth, 5-star Michelin starred type of place? Okay? That's the level at which they're operating. And that's the level which you first got to get through to them. So when you take out the copywriting, you take out their ability to process all these contextual clues, and they just have to look at just their brain is at the, you're forcing them into the instinctive reaction mode. That's what you're doing. Right? And if you're overly reliant on copywriting and or you use stock photos, you're going to have a problem.
That's number one.
Number one.
1 second rule, quick test. Do people know what we do? Do people feel like they've walked into the right restaurant?
Yep. Okay.
Number two.
Second thing is show the product. Now, if you think, James, can you think of the last car ad that you saw? Maybe it was on YouTube. Maybe it was you're reading something. Can you picture it?
Not quite. I can picture a car
Okay,
TV ad.
picture a ad. Can you think of like what brand maybe? What kind of car?
Volvo.
Volvo. Okay,
Yeah.
great. And what happened in the ad? If you can visualize it, maybe help our audience visualize what was in the ad. What
There
are they
was just
doing?
literally an XC, I think it was an XC90 driving along a road, and it was pretty grey, but the car was like colourful. That was it.
Yeah, yeah, and maybe it was a curvy road, and they were
Yeah,
showing how well it handled. Okay, yeah,
yeah. It
I,
was a
I
curvy
think
road on a coast.
we've all seen that curvy road on the coast. Maybe at the end of the ad, there was some kind of lifestyle imagery. They've arrived at their destination. Maybe it reinforces Volvo's positioning as like a sensible, upmarket, safe car. Um, and by the way, if you had an SUV, maybe it shows you taking the kids to football practice. And if it's a sports car, they're out on date night.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, but let's go back to that Volvo ad. Imagine the same ad, curvy road along the coast, and just take like a magic eraser and erase the car from the ad. What would you be left with?
Just a road and a coast
Yeah,
line.
like what the hell is that?
Yeah. Yeah.
It wouldn't be a car ad. It'd be like the imagery. This is what so many, particularly in B2B, and I know not everyone listening today is in necessarily software per se, but some kind of tech or maybe services. If you're in B2B, I don't know why so many B2B companies don't show the product right away.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just, if you look at a car ad, you're seeing the car. If they're going to your homepage, by the way, job is to be the number one sales rep in your company. Show the product. Show the product, show the product. It's such an easy thing to do. Just get rid of the stock photo, put a picture of the product. And it almost doesn't matter, by the way, which part of your product, right? You got 5 products. Just pick one that looks cool.
Yeah. What if it's more of a services business?
Great question. Okay, so I had a customer that was in the air conditioning repair business. By the way, residential. So they come to your house when your AC is fixed. If you live in a warm place, you live in the South like I do, you're not going to last long without air conditioning. And their homepage show. So let me first say it absolutely works for that. Their homepage had a picture of a mom and her kids, and they're running up to her, and she's about to like pick them in a hug, and it conveys like happiness, and like that's the ICP, like the family that needs air conditioning. Beautiful, and by the way, it wasn't stock photo. I mean, it was nicely done. Um, and what we ran an A/B test. By the way, A/B test is the gold standard for knowing if you change something, does it make a difference? Because you split your traffic and you randomly show half one, you randomly show the half other, and you say, hey, do we get a better outcome? Whatever the outcome is, it might be, do they buy? Do they linger? Do they read? Do they download something? Do they fill out a form that says, yeah, I'm ready to book. I need air conditioning repair. By the way, think about this for a moment. Let's think about this for a moment. This is air conditioning repair. Like
Yeah.
the person that comes to get their AC fixed is already pretty desperate.
Yeah.
Think of them as like the thirsty runner, right? You just run 5 miles. Man, I don't know. That I'm not going to be picky about the water. Like, does it look like it could be warm water from a hose? And I have an assistant, or I'm just I'm going to drink it. Okay, I don't need like crisp ice cubes in a nice, beautiful carafe. Okay? This is a pretty high intent audience. So you'd ask me, how could the imagery possibly make a difference? Like, if your AC is broken, do you care what the image? You just say, dude, come fix my AC. Well, it's great. We ran an A/B test, and instead of showing what we call lifestyle imagery of the audience, we showed a picture of the people that come to fix your air conditioner. 3 people in the uniform. The truck is behind them. It's professional. It's labeled with the brand. It is what you expect. That is the service. A trained expert that will show up, be professional, and get your AC fixed. That's what it was. By the way, well, I can't tell you the statistics. In that test, the image of the air conditioning repair people beat the lifestyle imagery.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
So we call that happy people hurt conversions.
I like it. I like it. So 1 second rule: show the product. What's the final thing?
If you're doing any kind of advertising, particularly interruptive ad flow, okay, someone searches on Google and there's the ads at the top. Someone's on LinkedIn. By the way, I know we have a lot of mostly B2B listeners. You're running a conversational ad on LinkedIn. Maybe you're doing it on Meta. That's what I mean by interruptive ad flow. You have to have a great hook on the ad. That's hard enough. Now, when someone clicks on that, you got to deliver on that hook. And the problem that a lot of landing pages have is they have a cat food ad and a dog food landing page. If a cat food ad, you need a cat food landing page. And it sounds obvious, but
Mm-hmm.
you'd just be shocked how many landing pages have this great hook, and then you go to the landing page and it's something else. And they wonder why the landing page doesn't convert. And they fire the SEO agency or the paid ads agency. Oh, you guys don't know what you're doing. Your keyword bidding strategy is wrong. Maybe. But if you haven't fixed that landing page issue, if you're sending cat food traffic to a dog food landing page, it's not the keyword strategy that's the problem. It's not the bidding that's the problem. It's not whether you're doing PMAX or manual bidding. It's dog food landing page. And it's so easy to fix. The first thing so many companies do is they send the traffic to their homepage because they go, oh, this is the front door. Come to the homepage. Almost always a bad decision. Now I say almost because almost anything can work, and if you run enough A/B tests like I have, you've seen some things. I I try to avoid universal truths. Um, but vast majority of the time, you just get better if you just make a dedicated landing page. By the way, that doesn't mean making a copy of your landing page and sending all or a copy of your homepage. Okay, here's how I think of it. Think of the traffic coming as the difference between people that want to dine in to a restaurant versus the drive-through. Okay, the drive-through experience is a very specific experience. Okay, when you show up to the drive-through window, you don't want to hear about the terroir of where the vegetables were grown. You don't need to hear about the farmer and how he sings to the cows every night before turning them into hamburger. Okay, that's a little graphic. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
pretty
not what the
upsetting.
fast food experience is. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
the fast food experience is give me the value meal number 2 with a Diet Coke. That is okay, and everything is engineered around a very specific experience. Okay, and it's signaled right from the start. You come in, you pull your car around. They've got the menu. If they're doing it right, they're not giving you all 76 choices. There's like 6 value meals at the top, and then a few ways you can add on. You're talking into a speaker box. Okay, the maitre d' isn't, hello, James, how are we doing today? Is this a special occasion? You'd be like, dude, what are you talking about? I've got
Yeah,
like 10 minutes. I got to get the kids to soccer practice. I want to give me value meal number 2. Okay. Then so that's the experience. Okay. They've engineered it to deliver it. And if you walked into the front door, there's a different experience. Same thing for the ads. When someone clicks on an ad, especially interruptive ad, you got to give them the experience they're expecting. No one gives a shit about your brand story, where your founder went to school, what aspirational beliefs your brand team holds, right? So we believe. We believe is a way to say, please bounce. Just
it's 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 that it's a universal truth for all sales and marketing. Deliver on what you promise. Otherwise, you just
start there.
alienate the customers further or the prospect.
So look, those are 3 things that now maybe not everyone listening is running paid ads, particularly interruptive ads, but everyone has landing pages.
Yeah.
Okay. By the way, I define landing pages as very broad. A landing page is anything where your audience, especially your cold audience or slightly warm audience, finds you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Your company's LinkedIn profile is a landing page. Your CEO's LinkedIn profile is a landing page. That subreddit thread of your category is a landing page. Your homepage is a landing page. Your pricing page is a landing page.
Mm-hmm. Great insights there. And then that leads me on to the next, like I think a next central question we wanted to talk about, or I wanted to ask you about, was that is going to convert the traffic that's there. That's going to improve conversions. How do we get more traffic there? And there's that question we get
So
asked a
hard.
lot. Does outbound really drive inbound? That sort of
It
marketing
does.
sales.
It does. So we do a bunch of
Thank
outbound.
you. That's it. That's all the cold callers needed to hear in the audience. Yes.
I think we can finish the interview. We're done. We can talk English Premier League for the rest of the call. By the way, man, I can't believe Chelsea scored that goal in the 95th minute. I'm an Arsenal fan. That was broke my heart. God. Okay. We just to give context, okay, because outbound comes in a lot of flavors, and what does outbound even mean these days? I'll speak from kind of the data I have. It doesn't mean there's universal truths here, and I think if we took 10 people listening today, there'd be at least 8 different ways to do outbound, maybe 11. 10 people, we'd get 11 different ways to do it. Okay. Context here I'm saying is cold outbound. Okay, these are not newsletters. These are not people that have opted in. They're people that we have found through doing very targeted research that are in our ICP. For the sake of time, I won't go belabor that point. And we're sending them an email, and they've never heard from us, and they never asked to be emailed. Okay, so the bar is really high. Mm-hmm. Like most people hate getting cold outbound because it's spam. And if it's poorly targeted and it's wordy, and it's not relevant, it's even worse. It's just that is the state of the world. Whether you are a offender or a participant or a recipient, that is the state of the world. Um, you know, we send in the low thousands of outbounds per week. So we're not a huge prolific sender. There's some companies that send 10,000 a week. There's some that send 40,000. There's some that send 10 a day. Okay, so we're well north of the 10 a day, but we're not in the 50,000 mark. So just that's the context. What we know, based on actually talking to people that respond to our emails, whether they say thank you or they say never email me again. By the way, we get both of those.
Of course,
I'm not kidding.
everyone does, and it's a fallacy that people on LinkedIn who present themselves as the best thing since sliced bread in cold outbound, anyone listening who's in their early careers, everyone still gets the F-offs and the thank yous.
Yeah.
You're always going to get both.
But we have gotten people responding to the exact same copy and say, this was such a good cold email. I shared it with my team. We should do it. And like the same type of email, someone will say, I hope you go to hell. What are you gonna do? By the way, I grew up. This is going to betray how old I am. One of my first jobs in high school when I was a sophomore, I worked in a call center, calling people. And if you want to hear some not great reactions, try cold calling people and getting them to sign up for something.
100%. Cold
Okay,
calling is the best, though. I'll still do that.
but I learned, yeah,
Over
yeah.
emailing.
I mean, I literally 8 hours a day on a headset in a cube farm with an auto dialer. This was the early 90s, 93, 94, 93. Yeah, old days. Okay. Um, they get the email. There's something, because it's brief and there's a good hook that stirs their interest. That's 90% of the job of cold email. And then there's an offer that looks at least mildly interesting or at least not repelling.
Hmm.
I know the bar that sounds like a low bar, but I think part of it is just not repelling. Like, what is this even? It can't be clever. It's just us. Hey, we do A/B testing for websites. Okay, if you don't have a website, you're the wrong person. If you don't have some responsibility for the website, you're the wrong person. But if you have a website and you're trying to get people to convert, okay, maybe this is interesting. We very quickly get to something, and then we have an offer that says, we help. At the end of the day, almost all our offers come down to, we help you convert more traffic.
Yeah.
And you should pay us to do it. There's nice ways to dress it up, but that's the end of it. What we know is if you do that part, most of the time what they're going to do is go try and find you online. They might find you on LinkedIn. They might actually, if we're lucky, maybe go to spiralize.com. They might go to Reddit. They might go somewhere else. They might ask someone. They might ask their social network. Hey, does anyone know these guys? They might go to Trustpilot or a place like that, third-party rating site. And they're going to find something. And what you want is them to find enough that they go, oh, this confirms what the email told me and it looks legit. And the number one thing that does that, once you establish that they're in the right place, is the social proof, because it tells them what they're looking for is you solve problems for me. You solve problems for people like me. That's the first thing. People like me who have problems like mine.
Yeah.
And if you do that, it often turns into inbound, because sometimes they go back and reply to the email and say, yeah, this looks cool. A lot of times they don't, but they later come back. Or sometimes they're on the site and they see the CT and go, well, what the hell? It's the same thing.
And that leads into like a lot of the headaches or some of that friction that happens in teams sometimes, where the SDRs, AEs, maybe they're doing a lot of outbound, and it might have been their consistent outbound that put you on the map for that customer or that company. but they've then gone and booked somewhere else, and the SDR says, oh, I didn't get any recognition for that. I did all the work. Mark said, no, they came to the website. Well, if outbound drives inbound, how would you help, or recommend a team maybe navigate that conversation?
You know, the analogy that comes to mind, do you know the company Paramark?
No.
It's a great company, and their CEO, Pranav, who I don't know him well, but I hold him in high regard. He really knows what he's talking about. So they're a measurement attribution company. To describe them in 2 words doesn't do it justice, but for sake of time.
Mm-hmm.
He puts the analogy of when you sit down for your Thanksgiving meal, who gets credit for the meal? Hey, is it the person that brings the turkey out on the table? Maybe, of course. What did they have to do with it? Maybe they just happened to be in the kitchen when mom and dad said, "Hey, let's carry this in." Okay. Do you give credit to the person that prepared the turkey? I mean, they have a big part of the role. How about the person that went and bought the turkey? How about the butcher? By the way, maybe all the credit should go to grandma because we're using her recipe.
Yeah.
So if you want to fight that fight, you just got to decide, who are you? Are you the person that brought the turkey to the table? Did you bake it?
Mm-hmm.
Did you come up with grandma's recipe?
Yeah.
I understand why that argument exists. I think maybe I'm in the fortunate position, and what I would say to anyone listening who's in the kind of that CEO founder role, especially, you have the ultimate power here. And I think if you're a CMO, you probably have quite a bit of power. Now, if you're getting down to VP director, maybe this is the kind of thing that you can ask for. I don't know if by fiat you can do it. But I think if you're a CEO, founder, maybe CMO by fiat, you can just say, hey, I don't give a shit. And here's why. When I sit down at Thanksgiving meal, I know all these people went into making the turkey, and I'm here to enjoy the turkey.
Yeah. They're
So
building the
for
house
me,
together.
yeah, I mean, you want to get to like, okay, who made the sides? Who put the silverware on the table? Who made the sweet tea? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I'm oversimplifying. Like there's, in my house when we do Thanksgiving at my in-laws, like my my brother-in-law, well, my wife, my brother and sister are all great cooks. I'd say I'm an enthusiast, but that's just not the role I play at Thanksgiving. I'm mainly there to eat and clean up and entertain the kids so that the people who can do the work. And I would say the three of them are central. My brother-in-law, Jeremy, in that context, he's the person. That's his role that we've all settled on. We've all we've been a family now for 20 plus years, so we've settled on our roles. Um, but everyone's involved. I mean, I know my wife and 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 Jeremy, her brother, like they're trading text about, should we brine this year or not, and should we smoke it or should we, all those things. Well, guess what? All those things go into it. But I'd say just you gotta, I think by fiat, just cut that off and be like, hey, we need pipeline coming in.
From that, then, if you, I guess the way I would translate that for SDR leaders, sales leaders who are trying to work with their marketing team is just have everybody find a way that removes some of that tribalism between the two sides.
Yep.
Everybody has the same goal, and that allows consistency, that allows more communication. That's going to give you more pipeline ultimately, in the long run, right?
Yeah, I think the question is, look, everyone wants more, and I would maybe put it. I think you got to decide what hat you want to wear. If you are in a scarcity or a starvation diet, and by the way, I've been there, where you say the goal is here and what we're bringing in ain't going to get us there. You got to first recognize that that's the mode you're in. And if you come in taking the high road about that stuff and everyone doesn't share your perspective, I don't think it's going to work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because someone's job is on the line. And if you start, I think that you sing from that hymn book, I don't know that it worked. I don't think it plays well. And that's the brutal truth. Okay. When someone's job is on the line and everyone knows it, and you're like, we need we need 10 inbounds a week and we're getting 3, problem.
Yeah.
Okay. And it ain't an easy problem to solve. Um, if you are in a, hey, we, we need 10, we're getting 8, what can we do to get us to 10? That's a different mindset. And by the way, obviously, if you're getting 10 and boy, what we want to do is get it to 15 so we can really knock it out of the park, that's a different mindset. So you got to, like, I think part of it, if you're a leader, you got to first recognize what it is and just tell everyone, hey, this is where we are.
Yeah.
We need 10 a week. We're getting 3. So that's a different kind of problem solving mentality.
Yeah. Radical candor springs to mind.
Yeah.
Like being real open, real honest. And it doesn't mean you can't like support people, but if you're a leader, you need to be able to have hard conversations to
Yep.
set the tone and the pace, right?
Yeah. And you got to be able to say, hey, what we're doing today isn't going to get us there.
Yeah. One of we've kind of spoken a lot about like the process and the people there. I wanted to come back round to something you said earlier, so make sure we cover some of the tech side of things. You mentioned that a lot of the traffic that you're seeing across websites has dropped, but the quality or the intent may have increased, right? So there's better intent, less visits, higher intent from what is coming through. That's one way in which I think ChatGPT, AI, all these different tools, buyers being more educated as having an impact. Is it AI and the availability of information that's helping buyers become more educated, or is it just and like is there anything else contributing to that, or am I completely off? Do you think it's something else?
So first is I think there's just a long-term trend. More information is available and audiences do more before they ever talk to a sales rep to
Mm-hmm.
educate themselves.
Mm-hmm.
One. Okay. So I think they're showing up better prepared, more knowledgeable. That being said, it's just never been, there's a seismic shift from the days of, you know, I need billing software. And you type in, I don't know, billing software for big companies, and you get a bunch of search results, and some of them are sponsored results, and you click through them and you read some websites, and you that's where the looky-loo audience,
Mm-hmm.
that's what has shifted, because those people are now either reading an AI overview or they're going directly maybe into ChatGPT to get, quote, advice from a robot. It's artificial intelligence, which maybe let's put the emphasis today on artificial artificial intelligence. But it's going to get better. Like there's just no doubt. Like that curve, where we are on the curve relative to where we're going to be. I think you and I are in a vintage enough where we remember the early days of the internet or the early-ish. It's laughable today to look back on that and
Yeah.
think that's where we were. So I think the same thing's going to be true of AI. I think that's the place where people are showing up and they show up kind of more well informed. So it is AI, but it's part of a longer, I think, secular trend that has been in the makes for quite a while, at least the last 5 to 8 years, maybe longer.
Final question, conscious of time then, is with that intent, do you think there's a lot of noise now about signals? People used to, I think intent data was missold and it didn't do a great job of positioning itself in the market for a while. I feel like if there is better intent visits on your website now than ever, and that's likely to increase and continue, do you think sales teams should be looking at more first party intent data, website traffic capture, and following up on those leads, or continue to do lots and lots of cold outbound, or is that too simplified?
I am in the camp of you should just do outbound. Like,
Love it.
and I'm, by the way, that's not a strike against vendors who are selling intelligence tools or signals. And let me be the first to say I'm not the expert on it. So you should take what I say with a grain of salt. But I found, but we use some of those tools. Okay, so maybe I know a little bit. What I often find is the answer to most of them, like when you get to like, well, what is the workflow here? You collect signals, you try and sort people according to people that triggered a bunch of signals and people that didn't trigger a bunch of signals, and you outbound the people that triggered a bunch of signals. Outbound being, it could be an email, could be text, could be a LinkedIn, could be shown ad, whatever. Why don't you just do that anyway? Now, I think what's interesting is if you could show them a different ad or a different message based on something they did. So if they came and checked out your self-serve accounting tool, send them some messaging that's relevant to the self-serve accounting tools, right? Fast setup, month to month, get it done fast. And if they went and checked out your enterprise edition, talk about compliance, SOC 2 certificate, you know, complexity, integration with, you know, enterprise accounting suite. Okay, I think that's a real thing, right? If you can use it to increase relevance, absolutely.
Yeah. Outbound drives inbound, but don't ignore some of that intent. We've got Sahil's 3 top things that people should go and do right now for their CRO to make better use of the traffic. But Sahil, pleasure having you on the show today. Really
Likewise.
good insight there for any marketing leaders, any CEO, co-founders, people trying to make better use of their sort of inbound intent, better use of their website, but also a reminder that always be doing outbound. Everyone, please like, subscribe to our show on YouTube. Sahil, where should people go to find out more about Spiralize and yourself? Where's best?
Yeah. Look, if something in Spiralize interests you, go to spiralize.com. If you want to hear more about A/B testing, websites, optimization, landing pages, check me out on LinkedIn, Sahil Patel. I post 4 mornings a week at 7:30 a.m. Eastern. Always in bite-sized snippets, 30 to 60 seconds.
Perfect. Thanks very much, Sahil. Pleasure having you on the show, and we'll speak to you everyone soon.